In this video, we're going to show you how to calculate the voltage drop over a circuit. It's basically a free calculator that does this for you, and it's based upon some industry standard equations. So we'll provide the links to this calculator in the metadata for this video. So at the calculator, what you could do is come to the voltage drop calculator in VCalc, and there are three functions: straight up voltage drop percentage, and then the wire gauge choice. So we're going to walk through each of these. The first one will calculate how much will be your voltage drop over the length of a circuit. So in this case, you want to put in the length of your circuit. So it has multiple units, anything from very small to astronomical, but let's stick with feet for now. And we're going to say our circuit length is 500 feet. And then we're going to put in how much current is going across it. So we're going to put 20 amps. And now one of the parameters that is necessary is the gauge of the wire. This really determines heavily in the calculation. So we're going to go through here, and these are all the standard gauges from gauge 1 up to gauge 20, but let's go say we're going to put in standard household like 14 gauge wire. And then there's some choices depending upon the medium. You can either say solid copper, solid aluminum, stranded copper, or stranded aluminum. Let's stick with solid copper, which seems to be the most normal. And then there's two temperature ranges, normal temperature range or high temperature. If it's a high temperature, it actually will drop a little bit more. So let's stay normal. And then whether it's single phase or three phase. Again, single phase is pretty normal. So in this case, over 500 feet, running 20 amps on 14 gauge, I'm going to drop 53 volts. And it'll convert that from volts to millivolts if you wish. But again, that's the voltage drop. Now, a lot of people want to know what percentage it is. So let's go through that again. So we're going to say we're going to go 500. I'm sorry, this is the volts. Let's put in 220 volts over 500. We'll leave it at feet. And we'll stick with 20 amps. And put in 14 gauge wire of solid copper. And then what this will tell me is that my, and again, leaving temperature normal and single phase, this will tell me that my voltage will drop 24%. And what you find in a lot of equipment is they're very sensitive to that. This will burn out motors, etc. If the voltage drop is more than just, sometimes it's 5%, sometimes there's a 10% threshold, but you have to look at what the manufacturing gauge is. So that's one thing to calculate, very useful, again, free calculator here. Now, when you're running a wire, one of the choices that you want to make is what is the minimum gauge that I can run in order to have only a certain percentage. So let's go back to our example again. Let's say, what is the cheapest wire gauge that I can use? So basically the lightest gauge of wire that I could use to only drop 5% over the length of my circuit. So let's go ahead and enter the parameters again. We're going to say we're going to go 500 feet. We're going to put 20 amps across the circuit, and we'll say 220 volts. Now again, let's say we're going to stick with solid copper, normal temperature range, single phase. But now I'm going to come in and say, okay, what is the safe voltage drop? I can say, let's say I can only drop 5%. What this calculator will do is it will go through, it'll loop through and basically tell me that I need to have 7 gauge wire to only drop 4.8% if you look down here at the bottom. So again, very useful tool. In this case, this basically helps you save money by looping through the voltage drop formula and coming up with what is the best gauge. So again, say what if we shorten our circuit so down to say like 200 feet. And what we'll see now is that basically something like gauge 11 will do it. So again, let's just use a lighter, higher gauge, but basically a lighter wire in order to get within our range. All right, hope you find it useful. Again, this calculator, you'll find a link to this at the bottom of this video. Thank you.